Let me paint a picture. Since the COVID pandemic, anime has exploded in popularity worldwide. But do you know what else happened around that time? That's right, Cyberpunk 2077 was released, after 4 years of development. But to call it a rocky start would be an understatement. Let's just say the game had a few bugs. Then 2022 rolled around, and the anime adaptation, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, was released. And people weren't ready for the masterpiece that it turned out to be. It's gory, dystopian, fast-paced, and above all, it's one heck of a ride you'll never forget. Cyberpunk Edgerunners was animated by Studio Trigger and produced by the game studio CD Projekt Red. The anime actually boosted the game's player count by nearly 300%, generating new interest in Cyberpunk 2077 after most of its major issues had been fixed. The show was the runner-up to Arcane for Best Video Game Adaptation at the Game Awards, and even won Anime of the Year at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. My one problem is that every time I recommend this anime to someone they go, so it's called Microsoft Edgerunners? While Cyberpunk Edgerunners is set in Night City from Cyberpunk 2077, it tells a completely separate story that takes place around 1 year before the game. The cyberpunk world this anime is set in is absolutely breathtaking. You can even visit the iconic locations from the anime in-game. The world building is incredibly well thought out. Corporate superpowers rule the city. Futuristic slang fills everyday conversations, and nearly everyone walks around with cybernetic implants. The story follows David Martinez, who lives in a rougher part of Night City with his mother, Gloria. Despite their financial struggles, Gloria does everything she can to give David a stable upbringing and a proper education. She dreams of him climbing the ranks of the Arasaka Corporation. Whether David believes in that dream is another story. But then, David's world is turned upside down when they're caught in the crossfire of a gang. Gloria is critically injured, and because they don't have the trauma team coverage, she's left to die in the street. She eventually gets to a hospital, but ends up passing away anyway. I know what you're thinking. Another motivation by dead family member anime. But trust me, it gets insane from here on out. David breaks into his apartment because he's late on rent. He's looking for Eddie's, but instead he finds an extremely rare cybernetic implant. A Sandevistan. David goes to his Ripper doc and lets him install the implant. His doc warns him about the dangers. The last guy who used it went cyber psycho, basically going insane because you have too many implants. David immediately ignores the warning. He then proceeds to beat up a bully at his school, drop out of school, help a pickpocketer named Lucy, then he goes on a date to the moon with her, but it's actually a simulation. Hold up, yeah, I told you it gets insane quickly. But to summarize, David then joins a gang of Edgerunners. They're a gang full of cyberpunks running on the edge of going cyber psycho because of the amount of implants they have. David's trained by Lucy. They fall in love, and for an anime that definitely isn't romance focused, this is also handled pretty well. Lucy is a netrunner, by the way, meaning she can hack almost anything. Eventually, David becomes the gang's leader. But at what cost? It genuinely blows my mind how quickly this anime made me sympathize with a group of cyberpunks. And it did so in just 6 episodes. Maybe it's the unjust world they live in, leaving people like David with no real alternative. Or maybe it's the human interactions between the crew. Whatever it is, even though these characters aren't the best of people, and definitely don't act normally, the way their bond grows makes us fall in love with them. Just in time for the anime to tear it all apart in the final episodes. I won't spoil what happens, but be warned, it will leave you feeling as empty as David. This is a true dystopian tragedy, a tragedy that's caused by the characters' flaws and by the corrupted city they happen to live in. The animation was absolutely stunning. Studio Trigger brings Night City to life in a way that feels chaotic, stylish, and alive. Even the background characters seem to tell their own stories. The action was incredibly fast-paced, and the Stand-Devastand fight scenes were a treat to behold. The visual storytelling around cyberpsychosis is especially effective. Even the way David's trauma is portrayed almost makes it feel like we're experiencing it alongside him. I also want to quickly mention that the English dub is genuinely excellent. I watched this before I really got into anime, and I honestly thought English was the original audio. The weakest part of the anime was probably the writing, which can feel a little stiff at times. It's not bad, it just doesn't feel on the same level as other aspects of the anime. Although it does give us some iconic lines.
Don't make a name for yourself as a cyberpunk by how you live. Make a name by how you die.
I also think the anime could have benefited from 2 or 3 additional episodes to flesh out the rest of the crew. I would have especially loved more backstory for Rebecca and her brother. The opening and ending work so well for this anime. The opening song, This Fire, by Franz Ferdinand gets you hyped up for the action you're about to witness, while the ending song, Let You Down, by David Podsiadła, calms you down while you process the insanity you've just watched. Every episode also uses such great songs, a lot of which were actually originally made for the game. But the star of the show is the song I Really Want to Stay at Your House by Rosa Walton and Hayley Coggins. The way it's used in the first sentimental scene between David and Lucy and the bittersweet ending is just so impactful. Now this song has become a trauma trigger for the whole fan base. Netflix also definitely know this. They put out a freaking 1-hour compilation of this song. Overall, I give Cyberpunk Edgerunners a 9 out of 10. I almost gave it a perfect score, but despite being amazing, it does have a few flaws. If you're over 16 and enjoy sci-fi action or a story that will grab you by the throat, this anime is perfect for you. It tells a tragic story in a cyberpunk future, a future that may not be as far-fetched as we'd like to believe. Thank you so much for watching. Season 2 has already been confirmed to be in production, so leave a comment if you want to see a review on that as well. Sayonara, and please sub so you can buy Crunchyroll Premium!